recognize the ranking member for opening statement. I yield to the ranking member for an opening statement. I yield back.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Distinguished gentlelady from California, Mary Bono. Gentlelady is recognized.
Chair now recognizes the lady from California is recognized.
I'm pleased to introduce Congresswoman Mary Bono, former U.S. Representative for California's Inland Empire and Desert Region from 1998 to 2013.
Mr. Speaker, I yield myself such time as I may consume.
Gentlelady is recognized.
Welcome to Sagely Speaking. I'm your host, Mary Bono, and I'm so happy you're here. On this podcast, I hope to bring you insightful conversations with a variety of guests from all walks of life, people with stories, wisdom, and perspectives that inspire and inform. If you enjoy the show, please subscribe, and if you feel inspired, leave a 5-star rating. It helps us reach more listeners like you. Now let's dive into today's conversation. I'd like to welcome today's guest. Emmy-winning actress EILEEN Davidson is known to millions of television viewers as Ashley Abbott on the #1 rated daytime drama The Young and the Restless, also as Kristen Dimera on Days of Our Lives. She made television history in 1997 by simultaneously playing 5 roles. That sounds crazy. After 3 nominations, she won a Daytime Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in 2014 for Days of Our Lives, and again in 2018 for The Young and the Restless. She has made several primetime television appearances, including being a regular on the series Broken Badges opposite Miguel Ferrer and Ernie Hudson, and has starred in several feature films, including the cult classic House on Sorority Row, Eternity with John Voight, and 7 Days to Vegas, importantly opposite her husband, Vince Van Patten. She was one of the first actresses to appear on the pop culture reality show The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills for 3 seasons, which I cannot wait to delve into that. In her EILEEN's spare time, she writes, she plays guitar, she plays piano, she plays pickleball.
Busy.
She's busy, she's an artist, and very importantly, she's a certified hypnotherapist. EILEEN, welcome to Sagely Speaking. We're so glad to have you here today.
Thanks so much.
It's
funny hearing these credits. I'm like, oh my God, this seems like so long ago. But yeah, yep, those things happened. So how are you doing?
I'm good. It's great to see you. We were just speaking off camera about how many mutual friends we've had over the years and how our orbits have almost, connected and collided. And yet we've never personally met, but here we are. Thank you for being an ambassador for MAPTA, which is our little nonprofit that fights drug abuse. So thank you for that.
Yes.
But I look at you and I think you have that life that so many people, but certainly young women want. They want to go to Hollywood. They want to be an actress. They want to be a model. You've done it all. I mean, this is not like your epitaph or something like your eulogy, but you've done it all and you continue to do more of it. How did you get started and how did you overcome the first hurdles to success?
God. You think that'd be an easy question to answer. I never wanted to act or anything. I didn't start acting until I was almost 20. And then I took an acting class and I fell in love, literally. And I started working a year and a half later. I took like 5 classes a day, though, for months, like a year or so. I cleaned the toilets of the acting studio so I could get free classes. Once I fell in love with it, I really committed myself to it. And it paid off for me. I also had people that were in my corner that were very supportive, acting teachers, the owner of an acting school that would call me at 9 o'clock and say, why aren't you in class when I was hungover? I was 20 years old. I was out partying all night. And he goes, do you really, are you serious about this? And his name was Dexter Freeman and he's passed away, but he was really a huge motivator, just making sure that I followed my dream. He believed in me and he made me prove to myself that I believed in myself as well. So, I mean, and then I don't know, I got young and restless very young. It wasn't my first job, but that gave me some kind of stability. And then, tenacity, just kind of following my heart, really my instincts.
It seems to me, although I've never tried acting or pursued a career, although I was an extra in the Kevin Costner's Horizon series, and just to be an extra was very difficult for me. It doesn't come naturally to me. Yeah, I know. It's like an extra. What do I do?
I was an extra when I first started, by the way. So I want to hear this. What do you mean? How was it?
Oh gosh, I'll go into that later. But I really thought I'd be like a potted plant, but I actually had to do things. And I mean, okay, I'll cut to this really fast, but I had to wear, a period costume with a bustle and a petticoat and, corset and all of this stuff. I think I looked like I was about 90 years old in this outfit, but I had to board a train and I could not carry the satchel that they gave me to hold up my skirt to get on the train and climb the stairs successfully. So
Deal with, by the way.
right. Oh, and the suitcase they gave me seriously weighed like 45 pounds. And so in any event, I wish I caught the bug like you had, but I don't know that I have the natural talent like you do. But when I think about what it must have been like for you is and I don't mean that I think this happened to you more often than is normal in the business, but rejection and failure, they're a part of it, right?
Yeah, definitely. And I'm really, especially at that point in my life, I was not good at it. I mean, it was difficult for me. I mean, this actually goes into a lot of different things, but when I would have an audition, it would pretty much ruin my life because even though you want the audition, because then you're going to get the job, I would be thinking about it constantly for a week before or however long, and I wouldn't be able to sleep, and I'd be nervous. And when you're going through that for years after year, which I did, even though I was working on YNR, I was continuing to audition for other things. It would kind of make you put your real life on hold. It did for me. A lot of other actors are great at just getting an audition. They don't think about it. They audition, whatever. For me, I wore it. It was like too much of my identity was on the line with it. So it was difficult for me. And a lot of times I just didn't want to go because it would put me through. Honestly, I don't know how I've made it this far. I was not good at rejection. So, you deal with it the way you can. A lot of people end up quitting the business because they can't handle it, you know? So that's a very real thing. I know many, many people who just couldn't handle it anymore. I tended to get in on daytime young. So I was always able to and I had a name for myself early. So I was kind of able to fall back on daytime. And now I'm kind of in this sweet spot where I work when I want. And I'm also doing some other things that aren't related to daytime. So I've kind of got the best of both worlds right now.
I just can't imagine getting over that rejection. I think I would move on. I admire the tenacity so much of people who can get through that,
Yeah.
not take it personally, not be devastated.
Yeah.
Of course, for women, there are these stories that we just don't look right. We're too old. We don't have the right
Sure.
body frame, all of that stuff, which we can't change. You can't train yourself out of those sorts of changes. So how do you get past well, you just don't look right for the role?
I've heard that. Some casting person called my agent after I'd been in there and said, "Oh, she should never wear black on an audition." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Or she should, she has a horrible attitude. When I was like, really just really wanting this job, and my attitude was like, "Please hire me." So a lot of projection goes on too, or people are projecting their own issues onto you. So you're not just dealing with your own. Listen, it's tricky. I think that the only thing that you have going for you is your own belief in yourself. And your instincts in following a dream, truly. Because what else, you're told that you're good in acting class. I made sure that I was trained really well, so I had a good foundation. And, you just kind of follow through. I don't think there's any secret formula, everybody's so different. They're all coming in with their own baggage.
Yeah, tenacity. One of my favorite quotes is nobody can make you feel inferior without your consent. And I think that it's a normal part of life, regardless of what business you're in, show business, politics, you name it, business. And, sometimes when we're feeling inferior, we're definitely buying in ourselves and to get over that. But let's say EILEEN goes in and nails this audition, which you've done countless times. What's the transition like? Now you've got to prepare for this role. How do you turn into this character?
Gosh, I do some research on things, whatever's going on, you just kind of research it. It's a lot easier now. Google, you can Google things really easily. A lot of it is given to you in terms of what the breakdown of the character is, what the dialogue is that informs you a lot. I remember once when I was playing a character that was going through mental health issues. I really thought, this is ridiculous. This character doesn't sound like she would be going through these kind of mental health issues. But then I went over to Camarillo State Hospital. And I spent the day there, and I gave the doctor the scenario that I was supposed to be dealing with. He said, no, this happens with women all the time. I was playing a very successful woman who had a mental breakdown. I said, oh, why would she have a problem? She's very strong. He goes, no, the women that are taking on so much are the ones that are the most likely to have mental issues. Well, I know that now at my age, but at that time I was like 24. It didn't make sense to me. So, I mean, you do your research and the script informs you, and that's really kind of the fun of it, working with the director.
Do you know that's interesting about successful women? I think we all get to a point, the older we are, the more we have on our plate. You know, we could that plate is very fragile and we can crack, certainly if we don't have the right support roles.
Yeah.
But when I look at you, although our podcast is on YouTube so people can see some of the video, but for those of you who are listening, EILEEN Davidson is drop dead gorgeous.
Oh my
Have
God.
you ever been told you're too pretty for a role?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, I think I read for something and I really, really wanted it because I always felt like I was a character actor trapped in like a leading lady body. But I really loved it and they just thought I didn't look right for it. But whatever. Gee. That's so sad. But I mean, I've been blessed to play characters that were attractive and unattractive. So I mean,
That's the beauty in it, right? Roles
take
of all
take off
sort.
and it's okay.
Yeah. Well, is there a particular role you feel has defined your career? When I read about you, I would think there are a couple of obvious ones, but what role do you think truly has defined your career, if there is only one?
Well, if it's only one, it would be Ashley Abbott on The Young and the Restless, for sure. Because that was really the first role that had any kind of major impact on my life and on the show that I was on, The Young and Restless. That Bill Bell was the creator, the writer of the show, and his wife Lee, and they invested a lot into that character. And she was a fantastic female character to play. She was the one who was very strong, had everything in life, but she had fissures in her mental health and her stability and stuff. So it's been great, still is great for me to be able to play this character at this point, and the fact that she's fallible, like we all are.
Yeah, I think it's very helpful for people to understand that it's a part of life. It's reality. It's not only us, but this is something that truly happens. But was that your favorite project to work on so far, or
Um, I mean, it's not my very, very favorite. They're all kind of like, I loved being on days as well, and I've loved doing different things. I really like to do different things. So I don't know if I have a favorite per se. I'm writing now a lot. So writing is actually becoming my first love, interestingly enough.
wow, I bet that's very empowering and new and different and very
I'm
positive.
finding out that it's not that important for me to be in front of the camera anymore. It was at one time. I really wanted to be the person portraying the characters that I write. But it's really not anymore. Now I'm feeling like, I've done that a lot and I'm happy to kind of step back and see what it feels like to be on the other side of it more predominantly.
I think we're contemporaries in age, roughly. And I do believe at our point in life, we begin to say, I have a voice and I'm going to use it. And I think whether it's creative writing, whether it's a podcast, whatever it is, I think, and it's a little scary though. We're putting ourselves out and we've touched on criticism for an audition, but now you've played this role or you're writing and somebody just comes along, whether they've had a bad day or whatever the reason, and they just come and slam you and say, this sucks. I hope at our age we can kind of go, okay, next, let's move on.
Yeah.
And you're having a bad day, not my problem.
It's definitely a lot easier now. I mean, I really haven't heard anything. I've been writing scripts with my niece, Anna Marie Davidson, and we've only gotten a lot of positive feedback. But I have to say, working on getting these things sold, it's like such a process. But I don't care. I mean, you always hear this about people that are getting older. You don't care as much. My self-esteem is not as directly entwined with what I do creatively. I do it more for myself now. If it sells, if people want it, fantastic. If somebody doesn't, I'll just move on to the next person. I feel much better about rejection now, because I realize now as I've gotten older that it's really just so it's such a personal thing, and you can't take it personally what somebody else is judging you or whatever.
hard thing to learn, but it's all you can do.
Yeah.
And it's the only way you can get by.
It's also emancipating. I just don't want to be burdened with that. I don't want to take other people's judgment of me as my mantle through life. I'd rather hear it, go, oh, okay, and then let it go and then move on. You know? I have a lot of different interests, as you said. I just got certified in hypnotherapy. And I don't like any one thing to define me. I think it's really important to kind of like define who you are yourself with whatever you want to do, whatever that is. I found it very interesting, hypnotherapy, because it helped me with my fear of flying. And so I decided, I want to do this. I'm just doing it to help people that I love that are close to me. I'm not doing it as like a profession, but I thought it was very empowering and I loved it. I had such great results with it that I went ahead and got certified.
Wow,
So
that's great.
something I concentrated on for a while, and I've got the writing, and I've got, I'm just not letting any one thing define who I am. I'm feeling very emancipated in my 60s.
That's fantastic. I've tried hypnotherapy, mixed results for me. I think it probably worked because I actually did it before a debate. I had to do a political debate.
Oh, I bet that would come in handy.
Oh, well, I did okay. I did okay for that debate. So maybe it worked quite well. I don't know. I would try it again for sure, because that the jitters and the fears and the, like you said earlier on with your auditions, the obsession you can get over, oh, I have an audition, I have a debate, I have a debate, I have a debate. I'm not smart enough. I'll never know everything. And
it's exactly the same thing. People are going to judge you. You don't have what it takes. It's all that rant.
Yeah, there's more of it than ever. So since your career began, a couple of new things. The industry's changed so much. Of course, I mean entertainment industry, so much, right? Into the fact that we have all of these streaming, cable TV, all of these different new outlets, YouTube, almost direct consumer content you can produce as a podcast is. And then the rise of social media. So you have more opportunities, but you have more critics sitting in the cheap seat who anonymously can attack anybody who's putting themselves out there in any capacity, acting, writing.
They're so lovely.
Well, you get to the point you ignore them, right? But it's impossible not to catch some of that flack. But how have you seen the industry change since you landed your first role and where it is today?
I mean, really, everything you just said. I mean, you really didn't hear about people except for fan mail and maybe on the street, if you're getting, people would come up to you or whatever. Now it's, you're out there in the public eye. It's open season, both good and bad. A lot of people love you. A lot of people hate you. You're like, fodder for whatever insecurities other people have and how they want to take it out on you. The Housewives was actually the biggest educator for me in terms of handling social media, because I mean, there's so many people that just want to destroy you, and you kind of have to learn to just let it go. It's called posting and ghosting. So if you're going to post, you ghost your post, and you don't follow it, and you don't look at it, you don't see you commented on it. Easier said than done, but if you're going to put yourself out there, it's probably a pretty good path to follow.
I've never heard that, and I love that. I think it's very important. And years ago in politics, letters to the editor or newspapers would encourage reader comments, and they've had to stop because they became such a mud pit for people's negative feelings. And I think my challenge in my life is to never post something like that. Because it'd be so easy to come back. I have friends who will come back with, oh, F you and your mother too, and all that kind of stuff. It's like, I want my prayer in my life is to never respond with negativity, because it just feeds this whole negative ball.
Oh, right. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty of every once in a while, I'm just like, I can't take it. And I'll respond, and then I regret it. I always regret it. But I'm like, I'm human too. But I think that I haven't done it that often. Very, very little, actually. But even when I have, I'm like, you're better than that. You don't have to do that. But it's difficult. It's a learning process, like everything.
For sure. It's not just a learning process. It's a strengthening process for sure. It's like, okay, go ahead. Hit me with those tomatoes over and over and over, and I will turn the other cheek.
Post and ghost, Mary. Post and
ghost. I'm going to get that tattooed somewhere on my hand so I can look at it. Post and ghost. But you brought up Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. And I have to be honest, I have never watched any of the Real Housewives, but I think I understand what they're about. I did watch a few snips of you over the past few days to get a gist of it. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I mean, I was in politics. Everything was a real politician of Washington, D.C., different kind of drama, I suppose. But, oh my God, it just seems like you went from a scripted, rehearsed, coiffed, presentation character, and then you go into this completely raw, real setting. I cannot imagine the vulnerability you must have felt. At least I would have felt very vulnerable.
I was in a constant state of fight or flight. And it was very interesting. I would not make the same choice now, but at that point in my life, I had a sister who had just passed away and a niece who had just passed away. And I was at a point where I just wanted to do something different and something that really scared me and that I felt would really challenge me. And my husband and I thought maybe we can, maybe this will be a great experience. We can always leave, stay for a year and leave if we don't like it. Nobody's, we don't have to sign a 10-year contract. And maybe we can make some money and retire, because a lot of women were branding and blah, blah, blah. That was really the focus of it. I learned so much about other people and myself that being on that show. I have absolutely no regrets. It was such an education. Fascinating. Really one of the most fascinating things I've ever done. I learned just so much about human nature. I was so naive. I was really naive.
Is it real?
Into that just because they want to be famous.
Eileen, is it real human nature when the cameras are rolling? Is anybody truly, really human? Well, maybe on a talk show.
What I'm saying is that they wanted, now I can't generalize, but people want to be famous and they'll do anything for it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't understand that. I was like, well, they already have a lot of money, so why would they? I was always questioning it. I'm like, was somebody really? I was asking the executive producer, I go, would they be doing that? And they're not really doing that. That's not really happening, right? I couldn't put it together. And I got an education in 3 years it was fascinating.
We'll continue with our interview in a moment, but first I'd like to thank my sponsors. Lucy Pet Foods is the leader in gut health. Their formulas for life feature prebiotic, balanced fiber that nourishes your dog and cat's total health. Every purchase helps support the Lucy Pet Foundation, a 501c3 charity helping animals. Save 15% off your first order and use the promo code SAGELYSPEAKING, all one word, and you will get free shipping at lucypetfoods.com. If you're committed to tackling the opioid and addiction crises, then you need to be at the 2025 RX Summit. Use code SAGELY, that's SAGELY, for an extra $100 off. Join top experts and professionals as we share strategies for prevention, deflection, treatment, and recovery. Don't miss this chance to be part of the change. Head over to rx-summit.com to register now. That's rx-summit.com for an additional $100 off.
The mom of 2 amazing kids, I know how important it is to keep our children safe. And that's why I talk to them about the dangers of drugs. It is not always an easy conversation, but it's essential. By talking openly, we can help our kids understand the risks, which will help them make smart choices. Create a safe place for our kids to ask questions and share their feelings. Together, we can empower them to just say no. Start the conversation today. Your kids' future depends on it. The greatest gift is a conversation.
And now, back to our interview. Do you have a favorite moment from that 3 years?
A favorite moment, Mary? A favorite moment? I don't know. I mean, I had some fun. I had some fun with the girls, definitely. I don't want to say it was all negative. We had some fun. There's some good chicks on those shows, and it's a very small circle, and so there's like a sisterhood, and you kind of get each other like nobody ever could because you're in the trenches together. But I think when I was finally able to walk away from it was probably the best moment. Only because the pay was getting better every year, and at one point I had to say, this is not for me, and this is not working. And then I felt kind of free of it, and I was ready to let it go. No regrets, not a one.
Good for you. I think regret is one of the worst things for our long-term health.
I mean, I'm not excited, and not everything was fabulous, but I mean, I just thought the experience was extraordinary.
Well, good for you. And I think that from what I've heard and from the friends of mine who adore you from that show, and you have so many fans, but they really felt that you kept your integrity and showed something a little bit different than just needing to be.
I have something that I don't think I've ever shared in print, I don't think, or on a podcast. Are you familiar with the Course of Miracles? Do you know anything about that, the Course of Miracles?
I've heard of it, but I don't know it well.
It's a spiritual book. It's based on every day you learn a lesson. And it's supposed to start in January 1st, I think I did, and then you do for the whole year. I did it my last year on Housewives. It's all about being in integrity and finding peace and calm and trying to separate what's real and what's fake. So I actually did that my last year on the Housewives, which is so incongruous, but it's a huge accomplishment as well. And I was always trying to be centered and grounded. It was like a real goal for me, to try to, in all the craziness that was surrounding me, was to try to find peace, calm, and some integrity. So the fact that people say that makes me feel great, because I feel like it paid off. I actually was at one of the reunions, and I had a book, Seat of the Soul, or something very spiritual, in my dressing room. And the executive producer, the showrunner, comes in. He goes, "You don't want that." Because they don't want you to have peace and calm. They want you to go for the throat. It's very funny.
They start playing, I don't know, raucous music, Crazy Town, Crazy Train, whatever, all this music to get you fired up and get in the ring.
Ready?
Well, bravo for doing that. And bravo for trying to get through to the viewers something that is about peace and mindfulness. And
run above it a little bit, but it's interesting.
So you wouldn't do it again?
I can't see myself doing it again, but I always hesitate. Every time I've said I wouldn't do something again, I did it. So I just don't know what life is going to throw a person. But I would say I don't see that happening.
When I think about just the title, Real Housewives of Anywheresville, right? What I don't understand is I don't see you as a housewife. I see you as a very successful woman who's built her own career, built her own life. And so to me,
well, I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I mean, I feel like I am a housewife amongst many other things. And I think many housewives aren't just simply housewives, or many other things. And there's nothing wrong with being a housewife, right? We all know our own mothers who work their asses off. I think about my own mom. My mom did everything. She was the painter. She was the fixer. She raised 7 children. She cooked every meal. It's true what they say. The older you get, when you have your own families, you're like, how the hell did they do it?
Oh,
Shocking how hard they worked, right? So
absolutely.
I think that we can all be housewives and many other things as well.
True, absolutely true. And hats off to all of the women who do balance it all. And I think that's something else you're known for through our mutual friends, of course, our producer friend Kim Waltrip.
Yeah.
That you are very balanced, and you have figured out the balance between work life and family life.
I mean, it's ongoing. It's a very difficult thing. It's not easy. But you have to make your choices in the moment. There's times when I sacrificed being with my family for work, and vice versa. And it's really just constantly a balancing act. But I'm also very, very aware of time passing. So when the kids were little, and even now, my son is 21 and he's still living at home for now. He's about to leave for college. I'm very well aware of that this could be the last time in this situation that I will be here with him. And I think I've always been like that. So I've always made sure that when those moments were there, I was present, and that I was aware that this could pass. So maybe I need to sacrifice doing that party or that thing so that I'm home. Also, I took my kid everywhere whenever I was traveling. He was all the boys were always with us so much of the time. So I feel good about that. But it's a process, and it's not easy.
It isn't easy for working women. And I see it all the time. I see it with my daughter, balancing an awful lot. And I think awful lot more than we did, or our mothers did, but I live in the mountains of Colorado. We don't have things like Uber Eats and Instacart and all of that. And I think thankfully these things, if you live in an area that you have them, does seem to help these working young moms a lot.
True.
Oh yeah.
I discovered like grocery delivery during COVID, and I'm never going back. Uh, if I could get somebody to fill up my car tank, I hate going to the gas station, the dry cleaners, and the grocery store. But I don't know, it's just been like a thing. But yeah, I mean, the whole Uber Eats thing is great. You know that your child's not going to starve anyway.
Yeah. They don't know how to cook any longer, but there's that. We sort of have removed that joy from a lot of people, or that
Yeah,
burden. I
I
guess
think
it depends on your perspective.
my two older stepsons are cooking. The middle one started cooking very young, and my biological son Jesse, we were just in France for a couple weeks, and he was texting me pictures of the food he'd cooked on his own. So
Ooh.
he was very proud of himself, and he's got scrambled eggs down.
That's awesome. And of course, your husband is Vince Van Patten, a longtime friend of mine.
Yeah.
And so you two did a movie together. How was that? I mean, like, want to strangle each other at any point in it?
Yeah. I was kind of shocked because we met when we worked together. But he had written this project and was starring in it, and I've always been the kind of person that kind of I take the dialogue and I kind of make it my own, and I'm kind of playing myself in the movie. So I would say something that wasn't exactly as it was written, and he was like, "You have to say it this way." I thought he was joking. That's funny. And he goes, "No, you really have to say it that way." And I was like, "You kidding me?" Anyway, so he was a little bit of a taskmaster. I'm gonna say he really was. And I was like, I'm gonna. But it all worked out. The movie's terrific, and we're still married. So yay.
This is 7 Days to Vegas, and Vince wrote it from his career, his passion of poker.
Right.
And apparently I mean, I have seen it. It was a joy. It was fun.
It's fun.
And again, yeah, but I can't imagine working with my husband in that capacity, for sure. But it was a great film.
Yeah.
Will you work with him again? If you say no, we can edit it out.
Ew. I mean, I would definitely would.
I bet. What a great guy he is. And I know you guys are big in the pickleball scene.
Oh my God. Listen, I'm like, please. He went off the deep end. Okay. I'm still up on the cliff somewhere. But he's in. It is his thing. He's also really, really good at it. He's like a pro. I'm like, okay. But yeah, it is a fun sport. Do you play, Mary?
I took a lesson with my grandkids, and I was, of course, on courts where there were a lot of other people playing, and you could see the exuberance and the passion in people. But I did feel if I went back to a sport like that, I would probably return to tennis. Maybe not, but that's what I was thinking. I said, I should probably pick up a tennis racket again and actually play tennis. But it seemed fun, but also very confusing. The rules were
Yeah, I know. You're like, why is there a kitchen, and why are we doing this? The scoring is so weird. But once you get past that, it's such a phenomenon because I have more girlfriends now than I had in middle school. And we have a court in our backyard that we put in during COVID, and I have games at the house with my different girlfriends that I didn't even know a year ago, and I play like 3 times a week. And you can play. My husband's at a club, and we go to the club. I mean, it's like I'm like, what did we do before this sport? What did we do? Because it's just very social. It's very fun. It's crazy. I mean,
you guys have never picked up the golf bug?
Vinny used to play golf, but that's been a long time ago. He stopped doing that, and then he stopped. He was tennis. He really didn't do it for him anymore. This sport is very fast. It's very fun. You can get good at it quickly. It takes a long time to get great. But so there's not a huge learning curve to when you enjoy the sport, which I think is the major thing. Plus it's social. It's just really super social. We put music on. I have a pickle playlist. I put music on. We're dancing on the court as girls, and we're having so much fun. we bring snacks, sometimes we have an evening game, we'll bring wine. So it's like a whole experience. And then
Well,
get the players that want to kill you out there too, so there's bruising.
there's that, right? Well, it's just like golf. I mean, you play with those super competitive people, and I interviewed my golf pro a while back ago on Sagely Speaking, which was a lot of fun. But I'm of the mindset: let's get out there and have fun. Let's have some good mental health, some mindfulness, a little bit of exercise. Of course, with golf, that doesn't really come all that easy because you're riding around a cart and usually drinking.
Right.
But the athleticism, the sport for me with golf around the 12th hole is when I really go, okay, this has got to be an athlete, because I'm already kind of bored and thinking about the chores I need to do when I get home. So you got to stick to it. But I'm still trying to perfect golf. But at some point in time, I will play more pickleball for sure.
But the golf is such a big time commitment, right?
It's a time suck. Money suck, time suck. Yes, absolutely. But you're outdoors, and Kim and I enjoy playing together. We laugh and laugh and laugh.
Fun.
And we don't compete too much, which we've always competed with each other. We kid ourselves that we're not competing with each other, but okay. But we do enjoy it. But I need to pick up pickleball. But let's go back to your working career, and let's say you can't be an actress. I'm done. I'm giving it up. And you've mentioned writing, but what would you be doing? What would your number one? You could be
so easy. I
What?
would have been like some kind of something to do with solving crimes. I mean, I just,
Ooh.
Forensics or something. I just find it so fascinating. And, I think women love to figure out puzzles anyway, like nosy and searchy and that kind of stuff. So I just would have loved to have been some kind of like a forensic doctor or something to do with, solving crimes.
Oh, that's very interesting.
Things out.
No politics, huh?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
No.
That's what I said one point in time, and life happened. But Kate, we have an intern who helps us with this show. Her name is Kate, and she's listening right now. And she's moving to Los Angeles and pursuing a career in film. And so she's not looking to be in front of the camera. But what advice do you have for a young woman who's about to move? And this isn't just for Kate, but for anybody who thinks this is a fantastic thing to do, or any career, whether you're moving to New York to pursue a career there. What advice do you give to young women who are just starting out in a career that, in my mind, is competitive? It can be vicious. It can be all the things we've said. What advice would you give a young woman?
Go for it. I mean, research it. Find people that are already doing it. Learn everything you can about it before you even necessarily jump into it. And find some resources out there. Do your investigation. Figure out who can be your support system, and find out people. Look at people who are doing it the way you'd like to do it, and then find out what they've done. Emulate the people that are doing what you want to do. Take classes, learn, read books. That's what I say.
Solid advice, and learn to embrace rejection, because I guess it's the pathway to growth, correct?
It is.
Is the entertainment industry male dominated?
Of course, yes, absolutely.
How do you navigate that? Same with politics. In Congress, I was
Sure.
10% of us were women when I got in. They haven't got a whole lot better, but there has been some improvement.
Yeah.
I learned to get along with the men by I'll tell the truth. Sometimes I had to come along and listen to the off-color jokes, and sometimes I had to tell some. But what about, how do you, things have changed, obviously, since the Me Too movement and all of the things that we've seen, but it's still there. We still are faced with it every day. What advice do you have to a young woman in that position?
Oh, I would say, listen, I don't know if gosh, what do you mean? What advice? How to handle?
Yeah.
God, I think I'm still learning. I think that I have a lot of anger about it. I was so sexually harassed in my life, and didn't have anybody that would, even though I was complaining, I didn't have anybody that would take it seriously. I was told to ask this person for advice, so they felt more needed. I'm like, ew. So I mean, I have the injustice of it all, the the out of balance of it all, how it all has to do with being a man, having the power, and just it's a patriarchal society. I could go on about this forever, Mary. So, I mean, I think we are in process of pulling ourselves out of it, but it's a long, slow haul. And the only thing I can hold on to is that it's actually happening. We are moving forward and we are moving out of it. And thank God for the Me Too movement. Thank God that people, and vice versa, that people can't get away with mistreating and abusing people in their workplace anymore to the extent that they used to. Thank God. Before it was expected of you. It's just how it is. That's just how it is. And the one thing that we've got that we didn't have before, now it's not just how it is. Now we do have a voice. People can say something. There is support systems. There are people that will listen to you now. That's a huge deal. It doesn't have to stay under the rock anymore. The rock is open and the worms are all crawling around. We can see them in plain sight. That's a big victory.
Still a long way to go for sure, though, as you said. And it is not unique to politics, to entertainment, and women are faced with it all of the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Well, aside from that, can you share us, and I won't keep you too much longer, but I could keep you forever, but what about when your funniest moments on set? I told you about I couldn't get on a train, even though I consider myself an athletic person. I couldn't climb the damn stairs because of this hoop skirt thing I had on. So that's my one. It's my only data point about. Oh God. So what about you?
Oh my gosh, I've had hilarious moments. I mean, that's one of the funnest part about what I do for a living is that we have a lot of fun. I know one time I was playing a character that had bad teeth. So I had teeth that were made by the same guy that made the Austin Powers teeth.
Oh.
And the character was an Elvis fan. So part of the scene was for me to eat a peanut butter and banana sandwich on camera. So every time I would eat it, the teeth would come out with the sandwich. So that was the problem. I'm like, you guys, they're not really my teeth. It was pretty funny. So we've had, I've had lots of funny, so many. I couldn't even count.
So who'd your dream team be if you could work with any director?
Oh my God.
In the future, any actor or actress, what would your dream team be?
Oh, I don't know if I would want to work with them. But of course I would. But I'm a huge Cate Blanchett fan. I just have loved her forever since she first came on the scene. I think she's fantastic. She is just amazing. I think I'd like to work with Quentin Tarantino. I think he'd be great to work with. I know that he had a film I did, House and Sorority Row, was at one of his film festivals. Just like a horror fanatic. So that would be fun. The list is endless too.
Wow, those are some greats, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Cate Blanchett, I think in Elizabeth, correct? Is when I met her and just was completely amazed by her talent and her presence in that film.
Well, right
and
now,
then
I blame her. She's terrific. It's an Apple series. So.
Our audio's being glitchy here. But I know, Cate Blanchett, I met her at the Palm Springs International Film Festival, which I believe you've attended as well.
Uh-huh.
A lot of great, and Quentin Tarantino has been honored at the Palm Springs International Film Festival. So, well, look, I think you're an amazing woman. I don't know what's next for you, but I know it's going to be brilliant, whether it's
That's sweet.
Writing, directing, starring in your own production, what you're going to do. But I know you are truly a gem. Again, I want to thank you for volunteering.
Mary?
The work that you do in supporting mothers for awareness and prevention of drug abuse. We thank you very much for that.
Yes, and please, give me more to do in that area, and I'm happy to help.
Good. If you want to get something done, give it to a busy woman. We will give you more for sure and take you up on that.
All right.
Well, EILEEN, thank you so much for joining us on Sagely Speaking. Please give my best to your husband, and hope to see you guys soon sometime in either Palm Springs or Los Angeles, or who knows where, maybe in the mountains of Colorado. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this exciting episode with a fabulous woman, EILEEN Davidson. Thank you to our sponsors. Without you, we couldn't do what we do. And until we catch you on another episode, be well.